Good morning, gorgeous. Yes, you. Welcome back to Rosie Rooted and Rising. I want to take you somewhere with me, back into a quiet testing room, almost a month now, with fluorescent lights overhead, a low hum of computers, the sound of keyboards clicking around me, and me sitting at that desk, prepared, calm, ready. The first question came up, 4 lines long, layered, full of extra wording, more complicated than it needed to be. I read it once, then again, and I thought, this isn't how I prepared for this. By question 10, I felt it. Not panic, but disruption. The exam did not present itself the way I expected. The structure was different, the wording heavier, the clarity not obvious. And in that moment, I had a choice. I could react or I could settle. So I leaned back in that chair, closed my eyes for a second, and quietly said, God, just help me remember what I know. Not make it easier, not change the questions, not rescue me, just steady me. Help me remember what I know. And something shifted. The questions didn't change, but my posture did. Instead of reacting to the fluff, I stripped it down. What are you actually asking? What principle applies? What do I already understand? One by one, slow, composed, intentional. Almost 4 hours later, I press finish. There's that split second when the screen loads and the word appeared, pass. I didn't jump, I didn't cheer. I sat back and I cried. I cried at the desk. I cried walking to the proctor. I cried in the bathroom. Not because I doubted myself, but because I stayed steady. And later I realized that moment had nothing to do with real estate. It had everything to do with posture. Because life does not always present clear questions. Opportunity does not always show up structured. Leadership does not unfold in bullet points. Sometimes it's layered, it's complicated, and even convoluted. And in those moments, you don't need to chase clarity. You need to choose composure. That's when I understood something clearly. Choosing power, not loud power, not scrambling power, but grounded power. There was a time in my life when movement felt necessary. If I wasn't advancing, I questioned myself. If I wasn't expanding, I wondered if I was falling behind, even when I wasn't. Before I learned this deeply, I equated motion with progress. I said yes quickly, not recklessly, just quickly. If it looked aligned, I moved. If it sounded elevated, I responded. If someone believed in me, I felt responsible to act. And here's the subtle danger. When you are capable, people offer you things. When you are competent, doors open. When you are consistent, responsibility increases. And if you're not careful, you start accepting because you can, not because you should. That's a quiet form of chasing, chasing momentum, chasing expansion, chasing relevance, even when it looks disciplined. Years ago, an opportunity presented itself. It looked elevated. Yeah, the title sounded stronger. the visibility wider. It would have impressed people, and on paper, it made sense. But inside, something didn't sit right. It wasn't fear, it was subtle, like a quiet weight in my chest. It felt rushed. It felt like something I should want, not something I was called to carry. I sat with it longer than most people would. I didn't rush to respond. I didn't let flattery decide for me. And I asked myself something hard. Do I want this role, or do I want how it will look? That question will strip you because image can disguise misalignment beautifully. I could have performed well. I would have grown quickly. I would have been praised, but I would have sacrificed peace. And peace is expensive, ladies. Peace costs applause sometimes. Peace costs explanation. Peace costs being misunderstood. So I chose to stay. Some people didn't understand that, but I did. And that's really all that matters. And clarity does not require unanimous approval, it requires internal alignment. And instead of replaying the decision, I felt calm. No second guessing, no what ifs, just steady. And that's when I began to understand. Chasing feels impressive, choosing feels peaceful, and peaceful is powerful. There's another layer to this. Sometimes we chase, not because we lack confidence, but because we are uncomfortable being still. Stillness exposes motive. Stillness reveals whether you're moving from alignment or from habit. I had to ask myself, am I moving because I'm clear or because I'm used to motion? That question humbled me. Choosing slows you down, not in productivity, in posture. Choosing says, I don't need to rush to secure this. Choosing says, if it's aligned, it will remain. Choosing says, my value is not tied to speed. Faith in my life isn't theatrical, it's posture. It's asking quietly, is this pressure or is this purpose? It's leaning back when things feel convoluted. It's saying, God, just help me remember what I know. Choosing is spiritual because choosing requires stillness. You cannot discern in chaos. You cannot hear alignment in urgency. You cannot lead from scrambling. Take a breath. Think about something in your life right now that feels urgent, not meaningful, urgent. Now ask yourself, if fear were removed, would I still move? If comparison was removed, would I still move? If applause were removed, would I still move? If the answer is yes, ladies, you are choosing. And if the answer is no, you may be chasing. And awareness is not shame, it's clarity. Starting over at this stage of life didn't feel chaotic. It felt exciting, but grounded. Not adrenaline, expansion. Starting over at 25 feels adventurous. Starting over at 50 feels intentional. You know what comfort feels like. You know what staying put would look like, and you choose growth anyway. That's not chasing, that's choosing. I don't want to chase titles. I don't want to chase applause. I don't want to chase urgency. I want to choose alignment. I want to choose expansion. I want to choose obedience. I want to choose peace. You do not have to chase opportunity to be powerful. You do not have to scramble to stay relevant. You do not have to move quickly to prove growth. You can choose, and choosing is power. Grounded power, quiet power, steady power. If you feel calmer lately, less reactive, less apologetic, less hurried, that's not regression. That's clarity anchoring you. Stay there. Until next time, sis y hermana, stay rooted, stay blessed, and keep rising. New episodes every Monday morning. If today's episode resonated with you, follow the show, leave a review, and share it with another woman who's rising or someone in your life who needs it. And make sure you're following on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or subscribed on YouTube so you don't miss what's next on Rosie Rooted and Rising.